M to the third power is a very unique title, and I spent quite a bit of time trying to decipher why it's called M to the third power. And I thought maybe it had something to do with the structure or the meter changes or something like that. And I couldn't see anything immediately apparent there. So I started to get the idea that it was an alliteration, right? And so M to the third power is in D melodic minor. It's in mixed meter. Right here at the beginning, the style is indicated as marcato. It's, as Carol Nunez indicates here in the program notes, in a moderate tempo. This piece was dedicated to Martha Faye McCary. Carol Nunez held a bachelor's of music and a master's of music from North Texas, where he studied composition with Merrill Ellis and Martin Mailman. Now, that's a lot of M's for your buck, right? So our district paid $15 for this, and that's at $1 an M, which is a great deal because it's only advertised at M to the third power. And well, show me another piece where you can get more M's for less money. Students love to play in mixed meter, and directors love to conduct in mixed meter. And there aren't always a lot of opportunities to get to do so in grade levels 1 through 3. So it's a piece that's easily achievable and has something that's fun and unique. M to the third power is very well written. It's written in a way that makes your orchestra sound great. If you're in need of a grade 3 piece for a contest or festival, this one is one of the easier grade 3s out there from a technical point of view, and a lot of orchestras play it to meet that requirement and are very successful. So here in Texas, we can think about our 6A non-varsity groups, sub-non-varsity groups, so on as we go down the line. And sometimes you'll get a group of students that are not as advanced with their technique, and maybe they've never shifted before. Maybe they're uncomfortable with vibrato and bow control. And what this piece does is it gives them a lot of music that uses shorter bows and that uses fairly similar finger patterns throughout the piece of music. And there's only a couple of spots at the end where the first violins need to shift. And there's some spots where the bass players need to shift as well. But it's a fairly doable piece for them, and it's also a lot of fun. The style of this piece, particularly here in the B section, as we get into measure 64, it kind of reminds me of that 1960s California surf rock. I can kind of compare it to the Surf Tones, the Ramblers, that kind of stuff. It just kind of has that feel to it, and I think it's pretty cool. The basses hold down the groove, and either your violas and cellists or your first violins, sometimes your second violins, just play on top of that with 16th notes, and it just goes. Again, this piece is very well written, and it's very accessible for students to be able to play, but there are some challenges here and there. Not the whole piece, but just a few measures, and I'm going to give you some tips and tricks in this episode on how to make your orchestra sound great in those sections. M to the third power is approximately 3 minutes from beginning to end, so it's not a long piece of music. A lot of the material repeats and comes back, which makes it easier to rehearse. And sometimes, like in the B section, for instance, when you're violas and cellos have a melody, the first violins play the exact same melody a while later, so you can actually rehearse that all at the same time and accomplish the same thing. I think that M to the third power is a crowd pleaser. I think audiences really like it. It works really well as a contest or festival piece, and it's going to make your orchestra sound really good. Again, you could play this with a middle school orchestra, you could play this with a non-varsity high school orchestra, and even for a varsity high school orchestra, it's not unheard of to play M to the third power, and they can make it sound pretty good too. I hope you enjoy this episode, and I hope that you can have some stuff that you can either take away to play this piece of music or maybe get some ideas that you can apply to other pieces of music that you're playing with your orchestra. In the next section, we're going to be talking about the different finger patterns that are required to play M to the third power, and I'm going to give you some strategies on how to teach them so that right from the get-go, you can start developing that culture of tuning so that your orchestra will play nice and in tune and sound really good on this.